anything that will help your gut work better, I'm interested in. So let's talk about a fun topic, and that is macadamia nuts. So not only can they improve the diversity of your microbiome, so that's the 60 to 100 trillion organisms that are in your colon, and having a diverse, healthy population of organisms in your colon is really, really important to reduce inflammation, keep weight off, have good mental clarity, avoid the degenerative diseases that we're all trying to avoid. So it's you can't speak highly enough about a healthy gut and what it does for you. And macadamia nuts do that and a lot more. So let's talk about it. So one thing they're associated with is increased mental clarity, and that's because they happen to be very high in the omega-3 fatty acids. But what's special about them is they're also very low in the omega-6 fatty acids, which are the more inflammatory fatty acids. So they've done studies on people who are over age 60 and found less cognitive decline when they were ingesting monounsaturated fatty acids, which is what macadamia nuts are very high in. The gut benefit is interesting because maybe some of you listening say, I don't do well with nuts. They kind of upset my stomach. A lot of times people are worried about the fat content. That's a different discussion, which I'm going to get to. But feeling like they upset your stomach. And that's because nuts can be high in phytic acid. And phytic acid is something that the plant itself uses to defend itself against predators, bugs and things that will eat the plant. But macadamia nuts apparently don't have that to worry about. Mother Nature knew that. They have a very thick, hard shell. So they're very low in phytic acid and therefore are a nut that a lot of people tolerate very well because of that, because of the low phytic acid. They also, and this is true of all nuts, help stimulate the production of good bacteria in the gut. And there's unique bacteria that only nuts propagate in the gut. So that's why having some nuts in your diet is very helpful, and macadamia nuts kind of win the prize on a lot of levels. They can also be associated with weight loss. And when you think about how high in fat they are, that might sound a little surprising. So one thing about nuts is that when we chew them, apparently we're only breaking down the first layer of the cell wall. And so what happens is that we're not absorbing the full calorie content of the nut because of that. And so let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. I want to look at my notes. So yeah, you're only breaking down the first layer of cell wall. So you're not absorbing all the fat that's present in the nut. And which I found very interesting and sort of explains why my husband can eat so many macadamia nuts and not seem to gain any weight. Because anyway, I am counting my 1 ounce and enjoying them. And he's just sort of handful after handful. But there you go. So something interesting about nuts is we only break down that first layer of cell wall, and so we're not necessarily absorbing all the fat that's in the nut because of that. But with the weight loss, what they did, now this was a study on mice, not humans, and this was in the Journal of Mediators of Inflammation. That was the name of the journal. So they took mice and they had a high fat group, and then they had sort of the control group. And so the high fat group fed a very high fat diet. Sure enough, their inflammatory markers went up and they got hypertrophy of their fat cells. So their fat cells got enlarged. So not a good scene. Then what they did was they took that group and they fed them macadamia nut oil, and their inflammation markers all reverted and their fat cells shrunk. Now again, mice, not humans, but pretty interesting development, and we've seen the other benefits I was talking about in humans. So that's cool. Also, blood sugar control. And what they found is that when you're consuming high monounsaturated fatty acids, again, you get better blood sugar stabilization, and your insulin sensitivity actually rises, which is great because insulin resistance is such a problem in creating a lot of diseases like diabetes, obesity, cognitive decline, etc. So that's a real problem that we have in our society. So these monounsaturated fatty acids are actually increasing insulin sensitivity, which is great, which is going to keep your blood sugar more stable. So that's exciting. So these are all the benefits of the macadamia nuts. And the studies showed that people were consuming about an ounce. I figured out that's about 15 macadamia nuts, depending on the size, obviously. But it's about a quarter cup. That's a lot easier, so it doesn't matter about the size. So it's about a quarter cup of macadamia nuts to enjoy. And, certainly watching the rest of your calories fat-wise, but a lot of benefits, I think you'd agree, from eating these nuts. And if you enjoy them, let me know if you have a good source that's not so expensive. But other than that, in moderation, they're great. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the channel. We definitely want more people to be able to see the information that we're sharing, and give it a thumbs up, and we'll talk soon.